always just going to attack when like defending.
I think Deluded, like.
Arsenal could have a fight for Eze. As you can see, Fabrizio Romano has said here, I understand Tottenham are also back in talks for Eze in separate deal from Silvinho. They did try to get him a season or two ago. I mean, Maddison's been injured. To have Silvinho, Eze, Kudus, to be fair with you, good signings for Thomas Frank's side Spurs. Spurs trying again for Eze while they work on Silvinho following Maddison injury and Son exit. Eze keen, but deal depends on Palace as release clause expired. Now, there are some rumors that have come out today simultaneously. I haven't got it to hand, but have said, I think it was in the Daily Mail, that Eze's release clause expires first game of the Premier League season. Now, this is said Eze's keen. We all know a few years ago, Spurs tried to get Eze and his advisors were actually at a Premier League game. We all know Arsenal have been linked with Eze. Maybe we're trying to sell players and then look at this situation. And as I've said before, and as I said on my panel show, where it comes to me and Eze or you and Eze, we would bring him tomorrow. Whether you think he's the option on the left, all that kind of stuff, everyone would bring him, right? Look at Arsenal. It's not that they don't think Eze is a good player, a versatile, multifunctional attacker. How much do they think he's worth? Clearly, they don't think he's a priority. And I know no two deals are the same. There's different isms and schisms, but they don't think he's a priority. Everyone who's come through the door at this football club so far was a priority, give or take, even Gyökeres and Sesko, whichever one we was going to get. Then it seemed like, regardless of Eze, regardless of Rodrygo, all these things, there'd be a bit of a pause and would flush players out. So that's what I mean. Clearly, he's not a priority like that. Obviously, I'm not here to debate if he can play or compete or potentially take the space of Odegaard, but it doesn't appear that the captain is going to get dropped rightly or wrongly. Just let me land these points. So that's the second point, right? Obviously, there is the option of maybe dropping, in terms of being flexible, dropping a Zubimendi or a Rice, playing 1-6 and 2-8. How much are you going to see that on a consistent basis? And is he the first choice out and out left winger? Do they believe in him that? And clearly they didn't want to activate his release clause. So they probably think he's a good player for us. If it makes the deal's too far to turn down. Again, you know, I don't agree with this, but he's 27 years of age, resale value, all of that. So what I'm saying is probably it was a thing where we're flushing players out. We had no intention of hitting his release clause. If we can tailor a structured deal, of course we're having Eze. Personally, I'd bring Eze tomorrow. I think we need to be involved in Eze and Silvinho. Would have loved Silvinho, to be fair. And they're two good signings for Spurs. But where are you lot at with that, people? Speaking of Silvinho, we would have saw Romano and all the transfer advisors say that Spurs have opened talks directly with Silvinho. Apparently there's a deal to be done there. Again, to be fair, maybe not the latest, but there has been rumours and reports that Arsenal are closing in on the signing of Eze, with sources informing Football Transfers. There's only one element of a move that needs to fall into place, people. I have gone over this already, but financial terms apparently have already been agreed. Arsenal have agreed to pay 55 million, 30 million is set to be done up front, and there's still discussions over the structure of the remainder of installments. And simultaneously, Crystal Palace are looking for a replacement. Again, Eze appears increasingly likely to be Arsenal's last big signing of the transfer window, with Crystal Palace Steve Parish dropping a hint that a move is on following the Community Shield. Yeah, of course, but players come and go in football clubs. I mean, there's a cycle, isn't it? Hopefully they'll still be here. That's what I'd like. And apparently they will reluctantly allow Eze to leave. We're ready to pay 63.5 million euros, with 30 million euros of this coming immediately and the rest to be paid in installments. Apparently they're reluctant to naturally allow such a player to leave, but they appreciate the opportunity that Arsenal will provide him with. Smash the like button and let me know your thoughts so far, people. El Khanous of Leicester has been linked with Newcastle and obviously Crystal Palace, and it would add fuel to the fire that Eze could be departing if they brought in a technical attacking player like El Khanous, who ironically earlier on in the summer was linked with us, people. Now, where you lot at with Manchester City's Rodrygo? You can't have thought Arsenal had a chance, could you? And it's still not guaranteed he's going to leave. City are getting some money and some outgoings, aren't they? Man City are considering a move for Rodrygo after imminent exits. Grealish gone, McCaitry and Silvinho can leave. Manchester City see Rodrygo as a dream target. Guardiola, big fan. Real Madrid will let him leave if the player wants, asking around 100 million euros. Do you lot reckon he is worth 100 million euros, or would you allow it, people? And again, has he still let people know that he wants to stay at Real Madrid, or is he accepting of the idea slowly but surely it's now time to depart, people. Again, Stuttgart are continuing discussions with Arsenal over a permanent deal for Fabio Vieira. The Gunners are seeking a total package worth 17.35 million. Fulham remain in discussions over a move for Reece Nelson after talks paused while the Cottagers pivoted towards Kevin, who they're still linked with. Arsenal view Reece Nelson as one of their most sellable assets and would favour a permanent move, people. In terms of incomings, what do you lot make of Pep Guardiola's? Sorry, I'm reading two things on my other screen of Pep Guardiola's protege. What do you lot make of Mikel Arteta saying this? Let's see what happens in terms of where the squad is in the next few weeks. We are actively looking at options. As well, there are a few players maybe that have to leave, so we'll be open to see what happens. Does that give you any food for thought, potentially, people? Let me know your thoughts. Is this going to load so we can see what the hell this is? That's our next fixtures against Man United, Leeds United, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Manchester City, and Newcastle. How do you lot feel about our upcoming fixtures as well while we're here, people? And you would have seen at the end of the game against Bilbao, Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta having a bit of a smirk. Could have been about anything. I hope it's about transfers. Now, if we look at what David Ornstein has said about Arsenal, or the Athletic have said about Arsenal, what happened this week? Arsenal announced a new 5-year contract for Ethan Nwaneri. Securing Nwaneri's future is excellent news for the club. Nwaneri had fielded interest from elsewhere in the Premier League and abroad, but his preference was always to find an agreement with Arsenal. Other than that, it's been relatively quiet with the bulk of Arsenal's incoming transfer business done. The focus has been on preparing the current players for the new start of the season. We had our best performance of pre-season where we beat Atletico Bilbao 3-0. Big up Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz and Gyökeres. We had some encouraging individual and collective displays, but we're not here to discuss any of that. Check out my other content and turn on your notification bells because I will be doing a video about like Zubamendi in himself and the tactical stuff. You know, we do tactical videos, transfer news, panel shows, the rest of it. So like, comment and subscribe. Caring about the things that we care about. Ironically, I just read the let's see what happens with the squad kind of thing to you people when Mikel Arteta was asked that over the weekend. Do you guys think even if we make no signings that we've got enough to really challenge for the Prem? Or like even if we bring in Eze and that's done, do you think we have enough? Let me know in the comments. If Arsenal are to make another addition, it's likely to be in an attacking part of the pitch. Arsenal have been studying candidates to improve their left-wing options, but ideally the club would like to make some sales before prioritising another arrival. There you have it. Which players could be leaving? A number of players who spent last season on loan, the likes of Fabio Vieira, Karl Heinz, Albert Sambi Lokonga and Reece Nelson are available to leave the club before the transfer deadline day on September the 1st. Now, it's a bit mad because I thought at least one of them would be gone. I thought Lokonga would be the first out the door. I know we sold Marquinhos. Are available to leave before, obviously, September the 1st. Vieira is subject of talks between Arsenal and Stuttgart, while Fulham have held negotiations over Nelson's return. In both cases, Arsenal favour a permanent deal. Zinchenko is also available to leave before the deadline, although the Ukraine international is giving consideration to seeing out the final year of his contract at Arsenal and moving on a free transfer in 2026. Arsenal naturally would prefer a sale this window. Polish international Jakub Kiwior is open to leaving the club for a club where he can be a regular starter. Arsenal are in no rush to sell, however, and none of the clubs tracking Kiwior have met their asking price. So if you ain't met the asking price, doesn't matter if you want to go, you can't go. Arsenal are in no rush to sell, and I wouldn't imagine we've just been briefed about Kiwior's desire to go and get more regular football for the last two seasons at a minimum. That's potentially been the case. I wouldn't let Kiwior and Zinchenko go in terms of depth. With Zinchenko, again, you're kind of at his mercy to move on. He's on 100k a week, but rightly or wrongly, he could say, I want to run down my contract to see what it's looking like for moves when I'm a free agent. My family might be comfortable at Arsenal and in London. I'm earning a big chunk of money here, and you know I'm going to be a husband and a father for a while. I need to make sure we can have the same lifestyle. I might not get these wages elsewhere. So, and he might think, you know what, there was injuries last season. Maybe the manager's learned to rotate and things like that. Maybe I get more opportunities at left back. Maybe with Zubamendi and Rice, there's opportunities for me in midfield. We're talking about maybe someone like an Eze who's a wide. Would kind of more like be a wide we wouldn't be an inside forward or winger. It'd be more like a wide playmaker coming inside. Zinchenko could do elements of that. So I'm just painting a picture. So we'll have to see exactly what happens, man. But it's shaping up to be an interesting end to the window.
Like
Easy.